Well, hello and welcome to another video of this series. So in this video we are gonna set up our room library to handle our database interaction in Android application. So traditionally we would have written SQLite DB helper class to interact with database, like insert or delete or update. To do anything we would have written SQLite DB helper class, but room library auto generates the necessary code for us so we can easily interact with the database. So to use this auto generated code, we'll be using different annotations which we'll cover when we'll be coding. So first of all, we need to create data classes for our budget and our profile tables. So these classes are called entities when we refer to the room database name conventions. So let's create our entities, or in other words, let's create our data classes first. So I'm gonna create a new package for this, and we'll name it entities, and the first data class will be of type budget. So budget, and by the way, this would be a data class, so it will have a constructor as well, and this class will be annotated as at entity. So the room library knows that this class is basically the entity. This is basically the one table for our database. So inside this constructor will be defining different columns. If we think about a SQL database, we're defining different columns here inside the constructor. So first column will be the ID, which will be the primary key of the database table. So let's create that where ID, and this will be nullable of type integer. It will be nullable and it will initialized with null. Then we'll have before we move further, this ID will be the primary key for our database, so we have to annotate this as at primary key, and we also want this to be auto generated, so we can write auto generated equals to true. So let's create other fields as well. So date, will store the date in the form of string. Then we'll have bank name. This will also be a string. Then we have amount, and this will also be this will be float, not string, obviously. Then we have purpose, which will be string, and we have credit or debit. You can use boolean, but I'm gonna go with string here. It's up to you. Logic will be changed if you use boolean here, but I just want to use string. And one more thing, by default room library will take the name of the class as the name of table. If we want to change the name, we can in the parenthesis we can specify table name equals to something like budget, right? So same way we can create another entity, another data class for our profile. So let's create Kotlin filer class, which will be named profile. This will be data class. Let's annotate this with at entity as well, and let's change the table name equals to profile underscore table. So, and in the constructor now we'll be defining different columns. So we already have we obviously will have primary key, which will be auto generated, and this will be ID, where ID of type integer, and it will be initially null. And then we have name of type string, we have email of type string, we have okay, we'll also be having a profile picture, but we cannot store the whole profile, the image in the database. Instead, we'll store the file path in the database. So profile image file path of type string, and then we have bank name of type string, then we have current balance of type float, then we have initial balance of type float, and we have primary bank of type boolean, and let me change it to string. So yeah, we are done with the profile entity as well. So now we need to create something called data access object, and that will be an interface. So basically data access object, in other words DAO, it is the interface where we'll write different functions to interact with the database, like inserting, then fetching the data, and all those sort of functions. So let's create DAOs, data access objects. I'm gonna create another package and I'm gonna name it DB for database. So let's create a DAO for our budget. So I'm gonna name it budget DAO, and this will be an interface. So let's remove class and replace that with interface, and this will be annotated as DAO, so Room understand that this interface is actually the DAO class. So initially I'm just going to create two different functions. One is to insert the budget entries, and second is to get the budget entries. So to insert, we simply have inbuilt room annotation, which is at insert, and just in case if we have same entries, we want to handle on conflict as well. So we can write on conflict equals to on conflict strategy dot ignore. So it will just ignore and create another entry in the database. So this will be a suspend function, and we'll name it insert budget, and we'll pass budget of type budget entity here. And another function we'll create is to get all the budget entries, but unfortunately we don't have inbuilt annotation like insert, but we have another annotation which is query, through which we can query the database table. So we're gonna write select star from budget, and we're gonna order by ID, and this will be in descending order, and we'll create a function. This doesn't have to be a suspend function, we can create function. We'll name it get all data, and this will return live data of type list of type budget. Okay, so we are done for now with the budget DAO. The same way we can create a DAO for our profile as well. So let's create profile DAO class. This will be an interface as well. We'll name it profile DAO. Let's annotate that with DAO, and we're gonna create two functions, same way, to insert profile data and to get profile data. So at insert, This time where we do not want to have uh, the same data in to be inserted twice in the table. So in the on conflict, we can select on conflict strategy dot replace. So it will replace the existing row of the database with the new row if all the data of all the fields are same. So suspend function, insert profile data, and we can pass profile of type profile, of type profile. Here it is. Now same way we can also write function for get the data. So at query select star, okay, we need to write this in the quotation, select star from profile table order by ID, and we'll have this in descending order. Okay, and this doesn't have to be a suspend function. So function get profile data, and this will also return live data of type list of type profile. Okay, so now the only thing is remaining is to we need to create a class for actual database. So for this we'll create an abstract class, and we're gonna name it budget database, and it will inherit from a class which is room database. So let's create that class now. So right click on the DB package and create Kotlin class or file. This will be an abstract class, and we're gonna name it budget database. Okay, let me refactor it because I forgot to write E at the end. Rename. Okay, and this has to be an abstract class, and we're gonna annotate this class as at database, so room can understand, okay, this class is an actual database class. And inside the constructor we're gonna pass first is entities, which are for our project we have profile entity and budget entity. So this will be an array of budget double colon class and profile double colon class. Another thing will be version of our database, so this will be the 1, and also inside the class body, okay, before I forget, let me inherit this from a room database, and we have to create a constructor here, and this will have two abstract functions. So abstract fun get budget DAO of type budget DAO, and same way get profile DAO of type profile DAO. Okay, so this is how you can set up a room library to interact with the database in the Android application. So we'll be using this budget database class to get access of this budget DAO and profile DAO in future videos. So do not forget to subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell, so whenever I post a new video you get the notification of that. And also, if you like this video, give a like and share it with your friends who are interested in learning Android development. I'll see you guys in the next video where we'll be covering Hilt setup.